Good morning, everybody. This is Emily from Grammy's Garden. Well, it's springtime, the day after, I guess, the beginning of spring. And today, my son and I are going to go out to a place that processes compost and garden bed soil, all kinds of good things for your garden. And we're going to get a truckload of compost, and I may get some garden bed soil as well. Their garden bed soil has been what's been put in mine, except for 2 boxes. And I've been here 5.5 years. And so that was 5.5 years ago was the first 2 boxes, which are right behind the cattle panels. I have to stop and think. It's been a while. It's been a long winter too. It seems like it kind of flew in a way, and in a way on those days that was gray and snowy and all that, it seemed like to kind of drag by. So I've got some plants sitting here on my picnic table I'll show you, and I'm wanting to get them out, but it's supposed to be like 85 degrees today, and then we're going to drop down to like 45 in a few days. I had problems with broccoli last year because it bolted. I'd grown my own seeds. They were great plants, and it bolted because we had some days very early. I usually plant my broccoli in late March, and even cabbage I have put out in early March. And what happens is it gets really hot. We'll have a swing of really hot weather come up from the south, then we'll have cold come from the north, and it's a gamble, and I'm willing to do it. So as long as I can, I hope I can do it. So I'm going to show you today the garden beds, how they look. I do have garlic growing in 2 of them. I want to show you how they look, and then I'm going to show you how they look after they're topped off. And maybe I can my son will let me do a little photography of him. I've got the shovels already. I'm going to be like kind of spreading it around a little bit while he's shoveling out of the truck. So anyway, I'll go ahead and show you my cabbage plants. I got them at a market that I have to drive a ways to get to, a nursery, but I've never had a plant that wasn't in excellent condition. Last year, I actually got my tomato plants, the celebrity plants I got from there, and I got another one. Oops, sorry about that. I'm holding my camera here. I also last year I got Old German, and they were okay. I got them because they were yellow and low acid, and I do have a family member or 2 that prefers low acid. They were real tasty, but they didn't produce like I wanted. The celebrities are indeterminate or semi-indeterminate. Some people think of them as determinate, depends on where you look at. But anyway, I've got those seeds starting in the house this year. And I've got all kinds of tomatoes and peppers started in the house. So I want to show you these cabbages. I got some that I've never tried before. When I grow my own seeds, I grow Earliana. And these seeds these plants are Stone and Copenhagen Market. So the broccoli, I don't know the name of. Emerald something, I think. But I'm used to growing my own cole crops. And I'm going to be also starting, I don't know if today we'll have enough time to get it done, but I'm going to be starting onions. I got candy onions again. They are not good keepers as far as like you can't keep them through the winter. At least I couldn't. I made it through the summer, maybe early fall with them. They're so sweet and delicious, and they were bigger than softballs. They were huge. If you go back and look at that video, you'll see how truly large they are. Great old big things. So I'm going to get on with it because it's going to be a longer video, since I'm going to show hopefully the process of us getting that soil and compost unloaded. Here's my cabbages. I'm not growing that many, not nearly as many as I did last year. This is called Copenhagen Market. This one is Stonehead, and their maturity dates are just a little bit different by about 10 to 20 days. So that'll give me, I hate to mention age, but getting to be at my age, I really do like to have a little spread out of what's coming into the house, so I don't have to think I've got to get out there and get that head of cabbage or 2 or 3 or 4 and get them done today, because in 2 days I'm going to have more to do. And I also have 3 jars of kraut that I've kept in the refrigerator over winter that's still delicious. I'm sure it's going to be. It's good looking at it, and I'm eating on a jar. Keep a jar open all the time. And then the broccoli, let's hope that they make it and they don't bolt. I actually let one, even though they bolted last year, Green Magic. I think they're both Green Magic. Yeah. Even though they bolted last year, I let one go ahead and stay in the ground, and it stayed in the ground till about a month ago when I got out here and wrangled it out. It got huge, and it had beautiful yellow flowers on it that drew in pollinators, and I really want that to happen. So you will see me back again or hear me back again when we're getting our soil, and we're going to be going out in the country to get that where it's processed, and that might be an interesting little video. Okay, we're off to go get we're going to get compost, and we're going to get a little bit of garden soil for some planters I've got up on my patio that I put tomatoes in. Coming up to it. We'll look at the operation here. It's really a big operation. Goes way back there, and then way back there. So here's this compost going into this bed that's going to have peas coming up the trellis. Hi everybody, I'm out here planting peas and I had to stop. I want you all to be able to hear this. I'm going to turn this around. Can you hear this song? It's beautiful. My dog's barking at a bird in a tree, so please ignore it. I want you to hear the song of these frogs out here. This morning it was still dark when I let my dog out, and it smelled like a chorus out here in this little, it's actually a runoff pond, and it houses all kinds of wonderful things. Actually I think I see a butterfly over there. We're in the 80s today. We're abnormally high. We were in the 80s yesterday, and a week from yesterday we might be 32 at night. But I'm planting peas anyway. I got the faith. Let me show you how good my garlic looks. You'll hear these guys in the background. Aren't they pretty? They sounded really interesting when it was still dark outside. So my garlic has been bitten back probably 3 times. This past week was one of those times, and it'll keep coming out of it. If you look back, you'll see that if you want to, you'll see I have a video that I was worried about if I was planting them too late, and that was last October, November. And here was 4 extra cloves I had, and then over here some came up where apparently I didn't pull it all last year. My plans for this bed's going to be tomatoes. I like garlic with tomatoes. Kind of seems to me, it kind of does seem like it keeps the worms away. I didn't have but maybe one of the big worms last year, hornworms. And in here, you know, I wish I could say I had this all planned out. I know this cattle panel is going to have peas on it, and there they are waiting in the ground for me. Now, I have put my peas inside a wet cloth or wet paper towel and put it inside a Ziploc bag, and it works great. You get to see that little tail on it as it's emerging, and it works great. But this compost was delivered yesterday and it's worked in, and I just feel like I needed to get out here and get this part done, because the bigger part, and these are sugar snap peas. I let sugar snap peas grow until they mature. I eat off of them, but then I let some mature, and those that mature make wonderful peas that I freeze. I shell them. This bed right here is going to have potatoes. I got my seed potatoes this week, and they're Kennebecs and Red New Orleans. They didn't have any of the red Lesotho, and they didn't impress me that much. The Kennebecs always impress. Back here you see, that's a mixture I mix up for the bees. In the last year, I hardly had any bees come. And the 2 to 3 years before that, I had bees swarming over the whole thing trying to get drinks. But I'm afraid that this tree that I love so much, it broke during one of those windstorms that came through the Midwest and swept onto the east, about 2-3 weeks ago. I don't know if you can see it, but there's pieces of it that are broken off laying there. Not way beyond that a little bit, you can probably see the glimpse of a really large lake. There's a great big farm behind me here. I never am lucky enough to get bluebirds in this box, and I always get sparrows, but I always feel like, oh well, what are you gonna do? You know, I can't make them come, and they do come and they check it out, and I think they like it, the bluebirds, but they get ran out. My blackberry bush did great over the winter, and it put out several new shoots last year. In that bed with that is strawberries, and they look like they maybe are going to be minuscule this year. If that's true, I'll go ahead and plant something else in there with them. It won't hurt those blackberries. And then on this side, you can see I've already planted these and smoothed them down, and then I'm going to water them in good. After the compost, my son shoveled out the compost to all these beds yesterday, and then I've got extra buckets and buckets of it to use when I need it. I'll side dress plants with it. Over here's probably going to be, boy, green beans did great in there last year. Like I had, I think 3 canners full. For me, that's a lot out of that's a 4x8 bed, 4x6 bed. But I think I'll be putting in, I've got 4 cabbages. Oh gosh, I always get more plants than I need. I got to figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff. Anyway, I wanted you all to see me out here poking stuff down in the dirt, and so glad to be doing it. I hope that y'all have a great day. I'll show you a little snippet of Punky up there. Hi Punky, what you doing? I thought you was my big garden helper. She put on a little weight during the winter. We got to get it off by the end of April when she sees the vet, because the goal was weight loss. She had lost 3 pounds when I had her there probably 6 weeks ago. So that's about that. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.